What's up, Anamangians? And welcome back. So, today we have a review for Us. This is the latest horror film from director Jordan Peele after his hugely successful movie Get Out, which I believe was his directorial debut. A lot of people love that movie. It was even nominated for an Academy Award. And of course, that movie is still being talked about to this day. People appreciated Jordan Peele's directorial style, how he blended comedy with the horror, and also that film had a lot of things to say as far as race and America. So now here we are again, 2019. Jordan Peele has returned with his much anticipated film Us, starring Lupita Nyong'o and Winston Duke as her husband, and Elizabeth Moss as well. In a film about a woman and her family who are being attacked by a family that looks just like them. So on paper, this film works. It just seems very creepy. It seems very scary. This is not a situation that any of us want to find ourselves in ever. So I was really excited to see how he was going to make this work on the big screen. You have the same cast having to play themselves, but a more demented version. It gives the cast members a lot to play with. It gives them a lot to experiment with. And I was also really excited to see, because of Get Out, I thought maybe this film would have something to say about the state of our society, the state of America, the state of race. He went with an all-black cast here, with the exception of another white family. The central cast is black. So I thought that maybe, okay, we're going to have another film that's going to say something about race here. That's not exactly the case, and I'll get into that momentarily. But how was the movie? Well, it was okay, and there's a reason why I'm saying that. It works very well as a horror film. It has everything you would expect. Jump scares, tense music, tense moments, blood spatter, violence, screaming, running, all of that stuff, and it works when it's there. Even some of the comedy, Winston Duke especially steals the show a lot of the time because he's just so funny. He's so comedic. He's able to kind of lighten the mood a little bit. And for some reason, and this is just a testament to Jordan Peele and his directorial ability, it doesn't ever feel like it's out of place. Even the Marvel films sometimes have moments where the comedy just doesn't work. But here, the comedy just blended really well with the horror. Now, whether you are a fan of that kind of thing or not, you cannot deny that that is something that works well here. Winston Duke, just overall, his acting, his performance was just really, really good here, and I really did appreciate him. Even when he was playing this different version of himself, he was still very captivating. But the star here, the star of this movie is definitely Lupita Nyong'o, who definitely does the most as far as acting goes, acting as her normal human self, and then acting as this other being. When Lupita makes her appearance as the other Lupita, it's one of the more tense moments in the entire film. One of my favorite parts of the film, to be exact. And it just shows that she's such a good actress. I mean, dear God, there was a moment where I was kind of wondering where she was. And of course, I believe she made her return with last year's Black Panther. And it just seems like ever since she's been getting a few more movie roles. I'm not sure if that was like because of personal things. I know she's been dealing with like her fashion and modeling and all that. But I'm really excited to see that she's actually getting some of that recognition because she is an Academy Award winner and she is very talented. And that's directly on display here. Me personally, I liked her tethered version, her performance with that version way more than her performance as like the mom and all that. Even though she was still captivating throughout the entire film, I felt like her performance was a lot stronger there. And then, of course, you have the rest of the family. The two children do fantastic job, especially Anna Diop as the daughter. When you see the film, you know exactly what I'm talking about, but she does a fantastic job with showing the difference between her normal self and this tethered version. Phenomenal performance there. And Evan Alex as the son, he does pretty well as well. I also got to give a shout out to Shahadi Joseph, the young Lupita who plays in this movie, because the film starts with a flashback. And so you have a young Lupita, and it proves that this flashback is very integral to the overall plot of the film. But she does a really, really good job here, just kind of showing fear, terror, disbelief, confusion, all in the few scenes that she's actually been in. And she also does a good job of acting like, of putting on two different personalities. I thought that that was really, really well, and she needs to have a shout out for that. I personally didn't think that the movie was very scary. I thought that it was tense, but it wasn't very scary. And that could be just because of me. I mean, there are some other people out there who might be like, wow, that movie was terrifying. Wasn't so much for me. And I was a little disappointed because I was really expecting to be scared. And I've seen movies recently that have, really had me scared and really had my heart pounding really, really quickly. This movie didn't exactly do that, but it was entertaining for the most part. Now, there was a lot of talk when this film first came out about whether or not Jordan Peele was going for a certain double meaning here when it came to this family and the other version. I will say that the plot twist, because there is one, it wasn't very strong in my opinion. In my opinion, it kind of throws that out of the window. You can kind of try to make that work, but it doesn't really work. And there's a lot of things that don't really work in this film as far as political theories go. I do know that Jordan Peele said that he wants this film to create conversations and have people talk about what the meaning could possibly be. But now I'm going to get into some of the weaknesses, and that is one of them. I feel like the movie kind of goes out of its way to be to try and say something while not actually giving us a cohesive, understandable story. I think it was trying too hard to be ambiguous and kind of be open-ended, and that, in my opinion, it works to its detriment, because while some things worked and some things made sense, there are some other things that didn't. There are some other things that just weren't really thoroughly explained. Now, I'm not saying that when you go see a movie that the movie has to be spoon-fed to you. Not at all. But I do feel like there are films out there that leave the door open for interpretation and for conversation without being frustrating. And I feel like this film left me a little frustrated because I had so many questions at the end of this movie, and it wasn't just about what the meaning of it was. It was mostly about the characters and what drove them, where certain people came from, why they didn't do this instead of that. It was just there were a lot of things that that are supposed to be ambiguous, but it just seems like lazy writing to me, or like plot holes. It seems to be a lot of plot holes here. A lot of things that were just kind of left in the air. And I'm not sure if it was because Jordan Peele didn't really know what to do with this story after a while. The first half of the film was great, but once it starts going into explanatory mode, where it starts to tell you where these people come from and why they are here and what their plan is, it doesn't exactly explain much, and then the end just left a lot to be desired, as well as that plot twist. It didn't work for me on that front. Like I said, there's a lot of ways that this movie could lean. It could lean towards just being a straight horror movie. I think it works better as just a straight horror movie. But if you want to take it and you want to move it to that political pool, I think that you can definitely do it. But I do think that it requires a little bit of fitting a puzzle piece where it doesn't belong. And I could be completely wrong, but that's just how I interpreted it. It just doesn't really work with any of the theories that I may have had before. And that didn't have anything to go against the movie as far as my opinion goes. I mean, if my theories didn't work with the film, that's completely fine. It was the fact that I couldn't make a lot of sense of what actually happened. Yeah, the film overall is coherent, but it doesn't exactly it doesn't exactly explain much or leave you satisfied with what you've gotten. Is there supposed to be a sequel where they're going to delve deeper into this, or is this a one-off? And if it's a one-off, it doesn't exactly work. And that's just my personal opinion. Overall, was the movie any good? I thought that it was entertaining. I thought that it was a good horror movie, at least the first half. Second half becomes a little bit muddled. And even though that there are some fantastic performances, really great sequences, really good use of music, Jordan Peele shows that he's a really great director. And the story is good up until a certain point. You know, you just can't, I can't ignore the fact that there seems to be a lot of lazy writing here, a lot of issues with the plot, a ton of unanswered questions, and a plot twist that just doesn't really make a lot of sense as far as like why this happened or what people could have done to prevent this. And then on top of that, it wasn't really much of a shocker either. I just feel like the movie has gotten a lot of attention, which is good. It shows that, you know, people are willing to go see something different. And by all means, support this movie. If you want to see it, make your own opinion about it. But it was good, but it wasn't fantastic. I think that I've seen better as far as horror movies go. I mean, let me just throw it out on the table here. I've seen films like Edge of Tomorrow, Interstellar, Inception, A Quiet Place. These are movies that still offered you a chance to talk about them, talk about what they could possibly mean, talk about what could have happened here or what could have happened there or why that happened. It opened the door for discussion, but it didn't leave it ambiguous in a frustrating way, in a way where you didn't really know why you even looked at this movie or what any of it meant. You know, us just at a certain point, it felt like a muddled mess, which sucks because it started off so well. In comparison to those other films that, even though opened the door for conversation, they were still very enjoyable in their own right and didn't have a third act that kind of just crapped all over everything that had come before it. So while Us was a decent movie and it was good, you know, in comparison to some of the other horror films that I've seen, I don't think that it even holds a match. And hopefully the next outing from Jordan Peele, which I know is going to be good because he's very talented. Hopefully the next outing will be just a little bit better because it's what we've all come to expect. What did you guys think of the movie if you saw it? Let me know in the comment section below. Do you think that I'm being a little bit too harsh, or do you kind of agree with some of the things that I'm saying? I didn't go too much into plot details here because, you know, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it. I know not everybody's rushing out to see it this weekend. You might see it next weekend or maybe wait till it comes out on DVD. If you do want to see it, like I said, go see it, make your own opinion about it, and then let's come back here and talk about it. Let's get into spoiler territory, but in the comment section. So if you saw it, let me know what you thought, and if you have not done so already, go ahead and click that subscribe button so that you can get more content like this, which contains movie news, reviews, and reactions from your boy Derek right here at Anamanji. Don't forget to click that like button if you liked it, and don't forget to click that bell notification so that you will know when I post again. That's all I have for now. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay dope.